Hi everyone, welcome back to Rabbi's Reflection. I'm glad that you're joining with me today. We'll be continuing in our study of Kitchen Table Wisdom by Dr. Rachel Naomi Remen, and today reading the story, Some Things Are Ours Forever. Stay with us as we read through the story and then offer some reflections. More than 10 years ago, an 85-year-old widower came to see me to discuss his feelings about whether or not to have surgery for a cancer confined to one lobe of his lung. After an agonizing period in which he examined his options, he decided that despite the risks, he would have this operation. At peace with his decision, he asked me if I thought there was anything he could do to promote his healing after the surgery. We spoke of exercise and diet and the possibility of Chinese herbs and acupuncture. Curious, I asked him how he had found the strength to go ahead with this difficult decision. He told me of a daydream that he had had a few weeks earlier. He had been sitting in his chair in the evening, reading his paper, and had almost nodded off. It seemed to him that his wife had come to sit with him. She looked much as she had in the early days of their long relationship, and as she looked at him, he was struck by the love he could see in her eyes. As they sat together, he could feel his fear easing a little, and then he noticed that one of his oldest friends had also come into the room and was standing behind his wife's chair. His face, too, reflected the love that had cemented their lifelong friendship. He was smiling at this friend when he saw his brother standing beside him. His eyes filled with love, too. One by one, others whose lives had touched his in a loving way were there, family and friends, teachers and students, children and grandchildren, even the family pets. It had been a long life, and in the end there were more than 50 or 60 of them, crowding into the living room and even into the hall. In this way he had known that his life had been of value to many others, and found that it was of value still. No longer alone with his decision, he felt fear release him and knew then that the surgery was the right thing for him to do, no matter if he survived it or not. I could feel tears in my eyes. Looking at this lovely old gentleman, I could easily see that his life had meant a great deal to those who shared it. What a beautiful thing, I told him. Yes, he said, and most of those people are dead now. He smiled at my look of surprise. I guess anything good you've ever been given is yours forever. He nodded his head and then sat quietly, smiling to himself. All lives touch many others. Sometimes this network is very large, sometimes small, but somewhere in it a certain quality of love is needed if we are to be able to survive. It is not a question of numbers. Sometimes it can be given by only one person. I often ask patients where the love that has sustained them has come from. For one man, the child of an abusive and alcoholic family, it was his dog. In this story, I think Dr. Remen touches on something that is just so simple. I think we can take for granted the relationships that we have in our lives. We can take perhaps for granted sometimes the friends and the family that have been a part of our lives. And what I love about this story is its simplicity, but how profound it is as well. There are moments that we do feel alone. Even surrounded by family and friends and a community, we might feel alone. And especially if we've gotten older, we might feel alone because those that we've loved have already passed away. But as Dr. Remen reminds us or teaches us at the end of the story, all lives touch many others. So no matter who we are, if we are alive, if we have a life, we have touched many others. And that means that we're in relationship with many, many other people. She asks at the end as well, where has that love come from that has sustained you? And so I think that's a worthwhile question to just pause and ask for yourself today. Where has the love that you've received, where has that come from? Who is that in your life? Maybe a family member, maybe a friend, maybe something else, as she mentions, maybe even a dog. And if they're no longer here or they're not with you or visiting you or present with you, can you imagine them? Can you imagine that they're here, that they're present? And it's so touching to imagine this man, this gentleman who's the subject of the story, who's contemplating whether he should undergo surgery or not, and then imagines the tens of people in his living room who are a part of his life, from family members and to friends. And I think that's just a powerful technique perhaps to use when we feel a little bit alone, or we feel that we're lacking in human connection or touch or love, which today and probably other days we feel pretty profoundly. So just close our eyes and imagine those that we love, that they're here with us. To imagine their faces, to picture or imagine what they might say to us. And that gives us, I hope, a sense of connection, of love, of warmth, of being okay, that we're kind of in this together with other people. So that's my hope for us this week, as we kind of listen to this story, that we find and remember those connections that have sustained us. All right, have a great day.